If you're like me, the whole end of winter 2022 is kind of mixed feelings. While on one hand, you're sad that things like Ranking of Kings coming to an end, My Dress Up Darling, Akabe Sailor Uniform, the last two episodes of 86. On the other hand, you also have the feeling of winter was kind of weak. There's a lot of great shows mixed in there, like Slow Loop and stuff, but it's still, like, compared to what crazy year we had last year, it feels a little bit weak. So, I have some great news for you, but it might be some scary news as well. That spring 2022 is around the corner, and it looks absolutely insane. I've been wanting to do a video for quite a while now saying how much I'm terrified of spring, and as it comes around, and we're about to do our preview for the season on our podcast, which will cover all the shows, I'm here to kind of give a breakdown of the shows that I'm most excited for, because there's a lot of amazing series around the corner, and it's going to be hard to keep up. Even the returning shows are absolutely amazing series that I cannot wait to come back. So with that said, let's jump into my most excited shows of the spring 2022 anime season. Like I mentioned earlier, we'll be doing a podcast where we'll cover all the shows of the season, so I hope that you'll check that out, as we'll do a breakdown of every single series. But for now, this is more of a condensed version, so let's jump right into it. First off, let's run through all the new shows that I'm excited for, starting things off with Spy X Family. Now, this is probably one of the ones that has the most hype around it, and that really does center around the fact that Cloverworks and Wit Studio are going to be working on this together, and so that kind of gives a lot of pedigree to really back the series, as well as a really fantastic director that's behind it. Music's being done by No Name. There's a lot of really great people behind this. It essentially follows a guy who has a new mission that he has to kind of acquire a family, and it turns out the wife that he gets and the daughter he gets have their own secrets about them, not just the fact that he's a spy, but they have their own secrets. So it really does look like it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of shenanigans behind it, and it looks absolutely incredible. Has a great, again, a lot of pedigree behind it, and I think it's probably one of the most anticipated new shows of the season that everybody's kind of hyping up, so hopefully it lives up to that hype. For the next one we have is Shikimori is Not Just a Cutie. Now, this is the one that a couple people have kind of mentioned to me to keep an eye out for. It's kind of one of those series where, you know, I almost want to say it was a teasing girl series, but it's essentially about a guy who has a girlfriend that has another side about herself that kind of comes out when nobody else is looking, and he really likes that side. And it's a more serious and more direct view of her. And it was interesting because when I finally seen the PV, I was like, oh, I wasn't really expecting that. It's okay, but at the same time, I wasn't really expecting that. But I'm interested to see how that kind of turns out. It looks like a very different take on a typical romance or a rom-com that you would typically see. Additionally, it's being done by Doga Kobo, which I've always loved Doga Kobo. I think they've kind of taken a back seat to Cloverworks recently for me as one of those kind of side studio that's not, you know, a big pedigree like Ufotable or something, but I'm still excited, and I do love Doga Kobo. I love a lot of their work, so definitely looking forward to this one. For my next one is A Couple Cocos. Now, this is a series that's kind of been mentioned a long time ago by Crunchyroll, and we've never really seen anything of it since, but here it is. It's finally here, but this is a series that has a really bizarre setup, and I think it's possibly one that will turn into be something that's absolutely really a lot of fun. It's essentially about a guy who, at birth, was mixed with another person, and in order to kind of fix the situation, the parents kind of want to get them to get married. It's just kind of got a little bit of a wacky start out to it. It looks like it'll be a lot of fun, little harem stuff in there as well, and based off the PV, it already looks really phenomenal. And the creator behind it is actually the one that created Yamada and the Seven Witches, so that's a nice little add in there. That was a series that I did really enjoy it. Actually was hoping to get more of it, but this is what it is. For the next one, I'm really excited for, and that's ahren-san wa hakaranai. This is a series that the PV just sold me. Now, the interesting thing enough is that the creator of the original work is actually the one that created Denkigai. And I wasn't a huge fan of Denkigai. I kind of liked the art style of it, but it's one of those ones where like the characters look really, really young, but they're all working force kind of characters. But this one, I think the style works so well for it. It's got like this big, tall guy, and he's got a classmate that's just really... It seems like she just doesn't know social boundaries, and at the same time, she's very quiet. So the moment I seen the PV and she gets really up close to him and says something, I was like, I'm sold. Like, give this to me. She looks adorable. This looks like it's going to be wacky fun. I cannot wait for it. Felix Films is working on it, which is kind of a mixed bag for me, but at the same time, it's got a great director behind it, the chief director behind it, the series composition. Everybody behind this looks like it's going to be a really solid team. And again, that art style just really works for this. And I cannot wait to see ahren-san. She looks absolutely adorable. So yeah, it might be my sugar show this season on top of something else on this season. But really looking forward to it. Moving on to my next one is Tomodachi Game. Now, this is one that I don't really, me personally, I'm not like super into this, but at the same time, I've heard nothing but good things about the source material. So I'm kind of going just purely based on word of mouth. I haven't really looked much into the series. Honestly, well, most of the series in these previews, I don't really look too much into them, but this is one that I think has a lot of, I guess, pedigree behind it, and a lot of people that are really excited about it, that it does have my interest. It seems to be about a group of friends who all get kind of tied up in some sort of game, and the only way to beat the game is to kind of not doubt your friends, and so it has a Chucky guy that's on the cover art for it, so I'm guessing a little bit of inspiration of Chucky in there, but I'm curious of exactly how dark this is going to get. It does have a genre of psychological, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of inner conflict with the characters and everything, so I'll be interested to see that, because I really do enjoy my psychological games. At the same time, there's a lot of them that just don't really do well. Honestly, I always go after them thinking they're going to be excellent, and they don't always turn out, but I have promise for this one just because at least the source material does have a fandom. Now, probably the one that I'm most excited about of all the shows that are coming out that are new is In the Heart of Kunoichi Tsubaki. Now, this is a series, the original mangaka that did this series also did TZ Master Takagi-san, so I really do love his work and how he can really bring out some really cute moments and characters. I've viewed a little bit of the manga, and it didn't completely sell me, but once I seen the actual PV that Cloverworks did, because Cloverworks is working on this series, I'm like, yes, please, give me this series. Tsubaki looks absolutely adorable. They really captured her art style, and just everything about it just really sounds interesting to me. It essentially follows a bunch of girls that are part of this kind of ninja group, and they are not allowed to kind of leave the village or see other men. And at some point, somebody sees a man, and this kind of sparks something within Tsubaki that she really badly wants to see a man. So a lot of the goofiness that comes around that with a bunch of basically girls that have never seen men, that little interest that they get in love and all that kind of stuff, it really could turn out to be some fantastic stuff. And again, great art style, great studio, and a writer that I absolutely love their work. So again, this one is one that I've been looking forward to ever since it was announced, and I cannot wait to check it out. The next one I have is kind of an oddball one, and it's one of those ones where I kind of put a little bit of hesitation in there because I don't know if this is something that has legs, and that is Don't Hurt Me, My Healer. This is one that I love the art style, the character designs that I seen when they first announced that they were getting an anime adaptation of this, but it was one that it really took me seeing the PV before I was like, oh, this could be something. And that's really kind of around the fact that it looks like it's playing off healer video game tropes. This idea of the healer is always the one that has to fix the boo-boos and take care of you, but this one looks like it has like the most dysfunctional healer possible is with this knight. And so it kind of plays a lot on the idea of every time he expects this person to do their job and be a healer and want to, cure ailments, but she doesn't it doesn't seem like she has the mind of a healer. I'm really excited to kind of see what they do with that. I'm hoping, my hesitation's really, and I'm hoping that it doesn't get old quick and that it has like enough punchlines to keep it going throughout the entire series, but I cannot wait for it. Unfortunately, the only thing that's unfortunate is that it's being done by Jomondo, and I'm not really too familiar with a lot of their work, so that's probably my only hesitation there, besides the fact that I'm hoping it has legs, but either way, it looks completely dysfunctional, and because of that, I'm excited for it. Moving on to my next one is Daimon. Daimon is a series that I've seen a couple PVs for it, and so far, everything that I'm seeing, it looks like it's going to be a really solid series. Now, it kind of looks like it's going to be more in the realm of slice of life. Essentially has this guy, he returns back home to essentially take over his father's shop. The unfortunate thing is that this other girl in the town was kind of already seen as being the one that would be the successor of the shop. So I'm wondering if there'll be a little bit of a butting heads between the two of them, but essentially having him returning back to his roots and discovering the thing that his father did. And I'm curious if he'll get heavy on the idea of, his love that he did actually have for his father. Maybe they had a falling out. All those kind of stuff it seems like it'll be in there. And so far, based on the PV, it looks really cute. The girl that's supposed to be a successor looks really cute. Everything really does kind of look like it's going to line up to be a really solid slice of life if it does pull it off right. For our next one, PA Works is coming back. Your boy Kyung-Ming is coming out, and the PV is just the usual PA Works fanfare. It just looks absolutely amazing. You basically have this strategist, Kyung-Ming, who is being transported into Tokyo, and he's this great strategist, so I'm assuming this will be a solid kind of fish out of water story, but he essentially sees this, street side performer, and he kind of helps her with her ordeal and becoming an actual star with her music. So yeah, military strategist helping a musician. What could go wrong there? But I'm curious if that'll play into it. Like he talks about like domination or something like that, and she's like, no, I just need to play my music. I don't know how it's gonna play out, but yeah, as usual, fantastic artwork from PA Works, and it looks visually beautiful. So looking forward to it. Hopefully it'll be one of the few adaptations that PA Works does that'll actually turn out to be fantastic, because they don't really have a good track record with non-originals, so we'll see. The next one I have is an absolute surprise for me. Wit Studio came out of nowhere and said, hey, by the way, we have an original coming in spring. And it's like, oh, wait, okay, let's do it. And to top it off, it's called Onipan. And this essentially is about a bunch of Oni who are going to Tokyo, where they dispel like these falsities about Oni. And the way they apparently do that is using Onipan, which, yes, for those that don't know, it's basically a put together of Oni and Pansu. And okay, that's about all we know. The one PV I've seen is very short. It doesn't really show too much, but it looks like it could be a lot of fun. It's being done by Wit Studio, so I'm sure they'll have moments where they just go crazy with their animation. But either way, it looks like they may take a little break, doing a little bit of a comedy. But yeah, I'm super excited for this. The artwork looks great. The concept is just bizarre, and that's usually what I really love. It's original, which is great for me as well. We'll see what it does, but definitely excited for that one. And that really does sum up all of my new series that I'm really excited for. Obviously, I'm still excited for The Corporate Slave Who Wants to Be Healed by a Lolly Spirit, The Dawn of the Witch, which is technically a sequel to Grimoire of Zero, Healer Girl, Summertime Rendering, which unfortunately is on Disney+. We'll see how that turns out. Love After World Domination, Dance Dance Danseur is finally coming out, and even Sawano Hiroyuki is doing music for a horse racing show, which is Fanfare of Adolescence. So there's just so many to go through. But the returning shows, now this is where things get really crazy, because there's a lot of really fantastic shows around the corner for spring that are returning, and some really beloved series. So let's jump into that. First one, let's just get it out of the way, because I'm sure everybody's already knows this is coming. Sentence of a Bookworm is coming back for its 3rd season, and I am just, I'm so pumped. Like, give me a Sentence of a Bookworm. Just keep adapting it. Keep bringing it to me. For those that don't know, it's basically an isekai where a girl who is a bookworm gets put into the body of a girl named Mine. And Mine is a very frail girl. She's very sickly. She's very weak. She has to be carried around everywhere. But essentially, it's about her living this new life in a commoner's area, amongst the nobles, who the nobles are the ones that have mana and power. And she has to basically learn to survive with her family. They're very poor. At the same time, she just really badly wants to be comforted by the thing that she loves the most, which is book. And the book, obviously, is something that only nobles can have. So just watching her journey, her struggles, her meeting people, the wholesomeness that's in there, everything about it, I love it to death. I can go on and on, but moving on. Next one, again, oh my gosh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. The Demon Girl Next Door is coming back for a 2nd season. I absolutely love this show. And it's not just one simple thing. Shamiko is adorable, but everything about this show works. The studio, the people that work behind it, did a phenomenal job with the 1st season. It's a very simple concept, but at the same time, I love it to death. It's essentially about a demon girl who lives with a family who are all cursed. At some point, their family bloodline was defeated by the magical girl, and the magical girl cursed them to poverty, basically. So they have money issues all the time. And so she makes it her goal that she's going to take down the magical girl and remove this curse. And it turns out the magical girl is like the most sweetest person. So it doesn't work out well for her. But it's fun. The shenanigans are great. I think the way that they adapted it was so perfect, because just all the sound effects and the cues they made, the music, the characters, the voicing, everything is just so perfect, and I just cannot wait for it to come back. It's definitely one of the most least appreciated series that I think people should really check out. Next one is Kaganado, and now this is a short, but I really love the 1st season of this, and I cannot wait for the 2nd season. For those who don't know, it's essentially a mashup. It's a cross-world kind of thing, with all the properties of Key Studio. If you don't know what Key Studio is, they did Clannad, visual novels, The Little Busters, Air TV, all those series, Angel Beats, and they're basically taking all the characters from those and they stick them into one school. And so shenanigans happen. So if you're a fan of a lot of those series, definitely check out Kaganado. I'm super pumped for the 2nd season of it. It was so many laughs. Next one is the 3rd season of Kaguya-sama Love is War. This is a really beloved series that I cannot wait to come back. I think the one thing that I love so much about the series is that we've gotten so much of it adapted. It really feels like the actual romance that's sprinkled within this rom-com is really starting to build up to something, and I cannot wait to see if maybe in the third season we'll actually see something come of it. But the laughs have always been great. It's one of those series that I thought the joke would get old really early on. This idea of, okay, there's these two people. It's basically a school that has a student council, and the student council has a president and a vice president, and they're in love, but they don't want to admit to it. They're in this prestigious school, so there's a little bit of a prideness there, but they want the other one to admit it. And so it's like this game between the two of them to see who will say it first, and it turns into some of the funniest stuff out of there. There's a lot of great side characters to really add in the mix, but yeah, third season is hype. And for the last one that I'll mention is The Rising of the Shield Hero. Obviously, that is going to be a super exciting series to come back. The first season was absolutely phenomenal. Now, I will admit, towards the later part of the first season, it really did drop off for me, but that doesn't stop me from being really excited to see where the series goes on going forward. And hey, I cannot skip out on more Raftelia. But yeah, that's it for the returnings. Obviously, I'm still excited for a lot of people to see Komi-san Can't Communicate coming back. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I know a lot of people love it, so I'm really excited for people for that. Also, Tiger and Bunny. I didn't get a chance to get caught up on that series, but I'm excited for everybody that's getting a second season of that. And let's not forget movies. I have 2 movies I'm excited for. Obviously, Odd Taxi in the Woods is coming out. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see what they end up adding to that show. It was such a phenomenal show, and I cannot wait for that. Obviously, Bubbles, which is essentially Attack on Bubbles. Attack on Titan people working on a series about people jumping across buildings and bubbles, so I call it Attack on Bubbles. But yeah, it's just, spring is insane, and I cannot wait for it. I hope you all join me for that. I will obviously be doing first impressions on all of these shows to give my thoughts on what I think about it's turning out. I hope you guys will subscribe if you haven't already, and you can check out my videos when I do that. And you'll join us for that and discuss each of these shows. We have a Discord in the link in the description below. Definitely jump in there as we talk about the new season coming out. It's definitely an exciting time to be an anime fan, and I cannot wait for it. And again, I definitely welcome you guys to check out our Anime Cast podcast. We'll be covering every single show here, including who's working on it, what studio's working on it, everything about it, the full synopsis, everything will be in that video. And I hope you'll join us for that. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below, comment, let me know what you're excited for with this next season. Again, subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon or through our tips, link in the description below. We definitely appreciate everybody that does. And y'all take care.